Hi everybody and welcome to my channel. Today I thought it would be fun to make some gingerbread cookies for Christmas. So let's get going. So I'm going to start off by first saying that I am not really a big fan of gingerbread, but I saw this recipe on Facebook and the gingerbread cookies that they made look nice and fluffy and moist and chewy and delicious, and so I thought, you know what, I'm going to try them. When I did them, they did not come out like that. They're super thin like gingerbread and they have a little bit of a crunch. But these were actually really good and I found them quite addicting. I probably ate a lot yesterday after I made them. I won't tell you the amount because it was a lot. But it is a really good recipe, so I thought I'd go ahead and share it. And this is what I found on Facebook. They're called German gingerbread. And it starts off with 3 cups of all-purpose flour. And I'm gonna add in 1 teaspoon of baking powder and a half a teaspoon of baking soda. And then of course we have all of our nice lovely fall spices. We have 1 whole tablespoon of ground ginger, which is what gives it that gingerbread. But it also has 2 teaspoons of cinnamon, a 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg, and a 1/4 teaspoon of clove. So we're gonna put that in there, and then we're just gonna whisk it up so it's all combined really evenly. And when I did this recipe yesterday, I did everything by hand. I didn't use my stand mixer. And at the end, my arm was killing me, so stand mixer it is. I'm gonna add in, it's a half a cup of softened butter. And then I have, the recipe calls for a 3/4 cup of brown sugar. I was being a little lazy and not really measuring, so this is probably closer to a cup, but I think it'll be okay. Who doesn't like more sugar? Just cream them together, and then we'll add in our next ingredients. Scrape down the sides, make sure all the butter is getting mixed in, especially at the bottom. Now that that's all creamed together, I'm gonna add in 1 egg. 2 teaspoons of vanilla, a half a cup of molasses. If you've never used molasses before, it's very sticky, so try not to get it all over your counters and whatnot. It's easy to clean up, but if you miss a spot, it hardens and it's quite sticky. And we're just gonna mix that up. Okay. So your batter should be a nice rich brown, very runny, and it looks, it kind of looks like it's broken, like it's very grainy. That's perfectly fine. This recipe actually calls for lemon zest, which I thought was kind of bizarre. And I don't have lemons right now. I haven't gone grocery shopping, but I do have a tangerine tree, and I thought citrus is citrus. And I feel like a tangerine zest or an orange zest would actually go better than lemon. I don't know, maybe lemon's like the traditional thing you put in a German gingerbread. I have not a clue. I'm just doing the whole peel because these are small, but it does call for about a teaspoon of the zest. So get that all in there. Okay. Now we're gonna add the dry ingredients in slowly, just a little bit at a time. Okay, so you should have a very nice thick dough. So we're gonna put a generous amount of flour because the dough is quite sticky. So we're gonna just put a big thing of flour down. That way the dough is a little easier to handle. So now I'm just gonna create a big mound of dough. And like I said, it is quite sticky. You might wanna put some flour on your hands first. Just kind of squish it together. Okay, and then I'm just gonna cut it in half. Just eyeball it. And then we're gonna wrap it in plastic wrap. and 2. And we're just gonna put these in the refrigerator. They have to be in the refrigerator for at least 2 hours. This is an extremely soft dough, so you need it to be very cold in order to roll it out and to cut the shapes. Because if it is really soft and you cut the shapes, you gotta pick them up and they just melt basically. So yeah, about 2 hours. Mine's gonna be in there probably closer to 4 or 5 because I have children and work and all that other good stuff. So mine will be in there for a little bit longer, and we will meet back up and we'll go through the next little bit. So I just took this out of the refrigerator and I'm leaving the other half in the refrigerator that we did. And I'm putting this on a very floured mat because this is a very tacky, sticky dough. So we want it to be nice and floured for when we roll it out so it doesn't stick. So I'm just gonna carefully roll it out. It does crack a little bit. It's gotta be patient with it. Kind of move it around.
The recipe calls for this to be rolled out to a 1/4 inch, but it really comes out very hard. So now I prefer to do a 1/2 inch and it comes out much chewier.
So I have a few cutouts here that I'm going to use, obviously gingerbread man. And then I'm just going to punch these in. Do a couple of these guys. Just peel these. I need to be very careful picking them up, but they're about this thick, about a 1/4 inch. And I have parchment lined paper. I'm just going to put them right on top. And if you need to, go and get a spatula to help you pick these up off the mat. Put these in the oven, 350 on the middle rack, and they cook for about 10 minutes. So we have our 2 batches here that are out and they're cooling. I have 1 more batch still going in the oven. So while we're waiting for this one to get finished, but while these ones are cool, we're gonna start on our glaze for the top. And all that is a cup of confectioner's sugar, powdered sugar, and 2 to 3 tablespoons of milk, and it kind of depends on how runny or not runny you want your consistency to be. So I like to do the 3 tablespoons because I like to just use the brush and go over the tops, just to get a thin layer of the sugar so they're not super sweet. But you could do it a little bit thicker and then put it in a bag and then maybe like pipe on a design or just kind of do like a drizzle on the top. But I like mine to be a little bit on the runny side. So I'm gonna put that in there and whisk it up until it's nice and smooth, which obviously with powdered sugar doesn't take very long. There, and you see how runny this is? So if you wanted to make this something that you're gonna pipe on, it's really, you probably just wanna do 1 or 2 tablespoons. That way it's a little bit thicker. What I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna take my little basting brush, mix it around in here a little bit, and then just put a nice dollop on and just brush it. And this way it doesn't get super messy and I get a nice thin coat of the frosting on top. These are all finished, nice and frosted. Time for the taste test, the most important part, you know. They're good. Crunchy, not as chewy as I would like, but it's actually only my 2nd time making gingerbread, so I'm just gonna have to figure out how to change the recipe a little bit, but they are still very good. And hopefully today will not be like yesterday and I won't eat a ton of these, but they are very addicting. So take that at your own risk. If you'd like to see more baked goods and tutorials, please like and subscribe below. Have a great night, everybody.